I just personally I don't like filing extension after extension after extension.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering what that process looks like when we get all of our documents to you and you start prepping taxes, like, is it kind of your default to take it to the very end, and why, and what should we expect?
You got it. Yeah, let's talk about the tax return process. So, okay, let me start with my default. My default is to at least file the first extension. We automatically do it for every single client, basically in January, because you never know. You never know if the books are wrong and something has to change, or like you just never. So I would rather everybody is covered. So that's my default position always, is file the extension. Now, the second reason for the extension is that the IRS pulls their audit pool from people that file from January through April. So even if your returns are done, like let's say you got the books are done January 5th, done, no other changes, you've done everything you're going to do, you've submitted absolutely everything to tax status, even if they're done, and we finish the tax returns March 1st, I don't know, whatever day it is, we're not going to, my suggestion, we're not going to file them until June, July, right? I mean, unless you have some other reason, like I need these tax returns to go buy a building, for example, okay, totally different issue. But generally, I like to try to stay away from the IRS as much as humanly possible. And they've publicly said, we pull the audit pool from January through April. So if they're going to tell me that, I'm going to take that as a piece of advice. Don't file between January and April. So yeah, no matter what, we always like to file extensions from that standpoint.
It seems like all the people that they would want to audit would be the people that file extensions.
You'd figure, but listen, if they're going to tell me, I'm going to do what they tell me to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to argue. Now, what the IRS did release, so Ian, to your point, right? They did release maybe now, let's call it a month, maybe 6 weeks ago. They said, yeah, effectively, we have no staff, so we're only going to audit people 10 million or higher per year in revenue. And I'm like, yeah. So like, if we're going to do stuff, like, let's go do it, right? You want a pool? Let's get a pool. Let's go do it. So it made me super excited because I'm like, 10 million, I can keep people under 10 million. That's easy, whatever. So yeah. So sorry, process. So yes. So automatically we file extensions, right? The length of time. So normally I'd file June, July-ish, whatever. Okay. The length of time, it's first come, first serve. That's always, to me, that was the most fair way to do it. So we have some clients that turn their stuff in literally January 5th. Mm-hmm. Everything's done. Organizers done. Books are done. Like done, right? Well, if you turn your stuff in January 5th, you should expect to be done like February 15th-ish, right? Like, because there'll be nobody else there. It'll be like crickets on our side, right? So you'll have a bookkeeper all to yourself to review the books and like do these things, right? On the other end of that spectrum, right? We get 1,000,001 people. There are two deadlines, and I think they might change this year. So please take this with a grain of salt. Our two deadlines are 6/1 and 7/1. So for businesses, it's the earlier deadline, right? Mm-hmm. So we get everybody turns in their stuff on 6/1, right? Mm-hmm. So then it's literally, turned it in 5 minutes before did. So, mm-hmm. Here we go. This is the order of the work. So, but yeah, so you've got a huge chunk of time. If you guys are ready, send the stuff, send the books, right? It's mostly about the big places where I see people get hung up is, I'm so sorry, the tax organizer, the accountable plans, but you guys are on top of your accountable plans. So that should be okay. Your bookkeeping. So when do your books normally get finished for the year?
We normally wait until the like end of January deadline where ADP sends us the final reports for all the payroll and all of the 1099s and that sort of stuff. So typically in February.
Okay. So you should still be pretty far in advance of a bunch of people is basically what I'm trying to say. Because I can think of 3 clients off the top of my head. They're like January 5th. And I'm like, whatever, honey, like float your boat, but there are going to be changes. So for example, like if you have brokerage statements, things like that happen to clients specific cases, clients with brokerage statements, you never get the final version till like August. I'm like, well, thanks. So the return might be done, but we're waiting on one or K1s or, other investments. Like Jessica, you've got other partnerships with other people. If you're waiting on a K1, you're going to be waiting. Like, I mean, you're just waiting, but the big bulk of the return, from our standpoint, we tend to have 90% of all tax returns. If you've turned in your information, we tend to have 90% of all tax turns, I should say all tax turns, 90% complete, because we're focused on, do we think you're going to owe or not April 15th? That's the big, right? So that's, we call it extension estimate time. So generally we're not so focused on finishing a tax return. We're just more focused on payment. Yeah. Are you going to owe 40,000 or you get a refund of 40 grand? Where are we at?
Yeah. And then, so at that point, would you recommend us making a payment, especially knowing that we haven't paid any quarterly estimates? Even though we're not filing.
Well, yeah. So that's kind of so we have one more calculation before that, right? December 1st, the email's going to go out for the fourth quarter estimates, right? Where are the books? What's going on? What's happening? Major changes? Are we doing the building? Not doing the building? SRA? Not doing the SRA? Like, what are we doing, right? So, whatever decisions you guys want to make, let us know, right? But that'll be our fourth quarter estimate. Sorry. Oh, he's coughing for a different reason. Smiling. I'm like, is he laughing? I'm so sorry.
He's coughing. I'm laughing.
He's coughing. We're all laughing. Sorry. So that's the fourth quarter estimate, right? And that's going to be based on, well, what do you think you're going to do? What do you think you're going to close out? What do you think? Basically, right? The next time where we're talking money is now that April 15th, right? Okay. And that's what did you do? What did you not do? What did you pay, not pay? What kind of equipment got bought? What can we do on depreciation on the building? That's where all of those things come into final play. So at that point, that's where we're looking at, okay, now we got to write a check for 5,000, 10,000, 30,000, whatever it is. And are there any last minute adjustments that we want to make before we write a check? So for example, a defined benefit program, that's one of the ones that you can do way later, but that is about a previous year. At that point, you're making a decision saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to sign up for making a $60,000 contribution. And I know I have until October to pay it.